What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to continue working on this Stella firewall rebuild. In the last video you saw that I did get the engine running. So today you're going to focus on the little things like replacing some cables and also getting this headset button back up. Yeah, so you guys ready? Let's do it. Okay, so we're going to start with removing the top of the headset. If you guys don't know how to do that, it's these 4 screws right here. They bolt from the bottom of the headset. So I'm going to take that off and unplug these things so I can actually work on the cables and throttle tubes and whatnot without messing anything up. So yeah, you just unplug these little quick disconnectors. Alright, I'll put that in a safe place. Right there. So I actually got a new throttle tube. This one's a little wonky. To remove it, all you gotta do is pull this pin out and then the cable guide will come off. But first I'm going to take the headlight off. I need to fix this part here. It's broken. I'm probably going to try to plastic weld that end back on there so the headlight won't be all loose like that. So I'm going to grab a screwdriver. Alright, it's only these 2 flat heads that hold the headlight on. Here and here. Get that off. All right, let's see here. All right. All right, got the headlight off. I'm gonna put that over here. I gotta fix this later. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is replace the throttle tube. The only thing that holds the tube in is this clip right here. That holds the actual cable guide on. So pull up on this clip here, and then this little plastic thing will just come right off the cable guide. And after that, you get a little plastic bushing, and then the throttle tube will come right out. You can see there's plastic bushings that actually go into the headset. I'm going to be replacing all these as well. There's one here, there's one over here. So yeah, it's also missing a spring washer between here and the plastic cable guide that I'm going to replace. So yeah, I'm going to leave that out for now, and I actually need to run a new throttle cable, so I'll do that before I put the throttle tube back in. Okay, this is the throttle cable. I'm going to replace the entire thing. Reason being is that the center cable doesn't just come out. There's actually soldered stops on there. So yeah, I'm just going to replace the entire cable. You can replace the inner, but then you'll have to get one of those the cable ends that have a like an Allen wrench that screws on the end of the cable. But I'll just use this one piece one. Got that. I'm just going to feed this down a little bit and then pull on the other end, which is over here, and it should go through the frame. Let me see. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Address the wiring a little bit later. It just doesn't look right. All right, so there it is right there. All right, so I got a brand new throttle tube here. Like I said, I got these brand new plastic bushings that go into the headset. So I'll replace all of them. And I also said there's missing a spring washer on the end. So first thing I'm gonna do is install the grip on this thing, and then I'll put this thing back into the headset. All right, so I've got the grip installed on the tube. I've got 2 new plastic bushings, and this is actually the other cable guide that goes into the headset. Yeah, I'm gonna grease these up and install these, and I'll slide the tube through. So Let's see here. All right, a little grease on that. This one goes in like this, and it's keyed. The little tab here goes through that notch there, so push that in. Install this one on this side over here. I feel like they're a little bigger, but there you go. Okay, I'll put some on the tube. Okay. All right, perfect. Much better. Very cool. Okay. So back on this side, I'm gonna pull this thing off the. I'm gonna pull this cable guide off of here, and I put this plastic bushing back on. And there's also a spring washer that goes in between here. I have that right here, so I'll put that on for now. That actually gives you tension so the tube doesn't go back and forth. So I'm gonna leave that on for now, and then I might have to take it off to run the actual cable end through the other plastic cable guide. Let me see right here, this guy right here. So I'll do that next. So this guy goes right there, but from the other side it goes like this. All right, but I need to run the cable through there. This will go over like this, and then I can push it in. The cable end on there now, so it's impossible for me to install this and then run the cable through it. All right, so I'm trying to do that on camera. Let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna push this down. Try not to mess with the jacket too much, because they like to chafe and get all messed up when you try to bend them a lot. So I'm just going to run just the cable and the tip through the hole right there. Hopefully you can see it. Okay, so I ran the cable through the first hole in the headset. There's another hole up there that goes through to where the headlight is. So this thing needs to go in between. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, there we go. Yep. So kind of has to look like that. And you push this through like that, and that's done. Got the outer over here. I'm gonna pull the other one of the other end, and hopefully I can get that outer all the way up to where it needs to go. So see what I'm pulling on the other end. This outer up here is sort of going where it needs to go. Get it a little higher. Look on that side. Cable's almost all the way up to the guide. Pull it a little bit more. There you go. There you go. Okay. Yeah, the cable's all the way through the guide like that. That's how it should look. Alright, so once you get the inner and the outer of the cable up to where it's supposed to go into this plastic cable guide, after that you can put the throttle tube back on or push it back in, and then It's a washer and a spring washer, and this little other cable guide. The stop goes up here, so you gotta line this hole with this hole and put a pin through it. But before you do that, put the cable into the guide. Let's see here. There you go. Like that. Okay. Let's see if the holes line up still. Yep, sorta. All right. And once I get the holes lined up, I'm going to push this pin through, or this clip through. But it might take me a minute to line these up. There you go. That's one. Sometimes it helps getting a pair of needle nose pliers. Come on. There you go. Two. Push that over like that, and that's done. Now make sure the cable stop is all the way up before you try to hook it up to the carb, otherwise you won't have enough length. All right, let's move on to that. The other end is here. I'll run that through the frame, grommet. Along with the choke cable, like that. This goes in the carb box. This. And that goes into that little clip right there. So let me see if I can get it in there. Yep, like that. So now I should have a working throttle cable. You see when I pull the throttle cable, it actually activates the oil pump too. So that's how that works. Cool. Move on to the other side of the headset. Okay, so on the other side of the headset, first thing I'm going to do is replace the clutch cable. It's really frayed at the bottom where it meets up with the engine. So we'll replace that real quick. Take the nut off the this screw. Then remove this screw. And when you pull the lever out, it should be a couple washers. Sometimes two, sometimes three. So this one seems to have three. Oop. All right. Wipe off all the old grease. Pull the cable out with the lever so it's easier. I gotta spray some lube down this cable. It's really okay. So I got the cable out. Clean the lever up a little bit. Okay, I've got the clutch cable pulled out, but I just remembered I will be replacing these little plastic bushings on this side as well. So I'm going to take this cable guide off, and I'm going to pull the shifter tube out and to replace those bushings before I continue. So same as the other side, just pull the clip out and remove this cable guide like this. And this should come right out. Oh, I may need to disconnect the turn signals or the high beam and horn switch. All right, let me do that real quick. All right, before I can actually put in those new bushings, I gotta disconnect the high beam and the horn cable or horn switch. So disconnect that. See if I can pull it out. No, nope, that's not happening. I got that one off too. Push this guy back into the tube. Hopefully it's easy to get back out. All right, there you go. There you go. Hopefully I have enough slack to get the tube out. Okay. Almost there. There you go. All right, so I left this connected down there. I don't want to mess with all that. Pull this little plastic sleeve off because I got a new one. Clean this tube up a little bit, and we'll reinstall the new bushings into the headset. All right, I'm going to remove the shifter guide. Let me see here, because I'll be replacing these two little bushings as well. So yeah, might as well replace all of them since I'm in here. Okay, so I just realized this is actually a metal bushing. It has to be pressed out. I will leave that and not put a plastic one there instead. But on this side, I will put in a new plastic one. Grease this up a little bit. Okay, there. I'm going to replace these little guides that hold the cable in place. So, should be just like the other side. Push these through, yep. That's one. I think that's good. All right, one of the bottom one. Same thing as I did on the other side. I'll pull this cable out a little bit. Alright, replacing the cable bushing on this side. Oh, there you go, fell out. Put a new one back up there. Okay, new bushing on the bottom as well. Okay, now I've got the new bushing here, the new cable bushings here and here. I'll put the shifter tube back in place. Before that, I'm going to apply some new grease. All right, push the guy back on like that, which is the cable guide for the shifter cables. This. Go. Push this all the way through. We'll put the, oh, whoops, I forgot the spring washer. Spring washer goes first, and then this guide goes in. Again, we have to line the holes up. Let me see here. It should be in neutral right now, but double check. I get a bigger angle over here, so I'm trying to line up the holes of the throttle the shifter tube, and also the hole on the cable guide. Push this clip through. Let's see here. There you go. There There you go. Flip up the round part in the bottom there. Okay. There you go. Okay, there you go. Done. These cables feel a little sloppy, so I'm going to tighten those up. Alright, so this outer clutch cable looks pretty tired as well, so I'm going to go ahead and replace that as well. Do the same thing as I did with the throttle cable. I'm just going to tape this guy on, and then we'll pull it through the frame. All right, center down. Okay, this guy apart. The outer where it's supposed to go, I'm gonna go ahead and first put a cable stopper here, and then so I ran the inner through the shifter tube, and I'm gonna run this down the outer tube, and I'm gonna use the inner cable as a guide to get this cable back through the shifter tube and back to where it needs to go. Let me see here. There you go, like that. Now I'll run the inner end. I did spray some lube through the into the outer cable before I installed that. So over here, here it should be. There you go. Alright, now I'm going to reinstall the lever. Okay, I'm going to reinstall the lever now. So before I do that, I'm going to put some grease on the lever here, where it actually goes into the shifter tube. It's like that. I'll push this in. Alright. So this guy actually had 3 washers. Usually only have 2. So you'll see the holes are a little smaller between the washers. The smaller ones go on the bottom of the lever, the bigger one goes on the top. Okay, so sort of like this. Okay. Just get that all in there lined up. You should be able to put the screw straight through the washers, the lever, and through the bottom of the shifter tube. So like this. And then now I'm gonna put the nut back on the bottom. Okay, make sure it's nice and free like that, not too much play, and that's good to go. So now I got a new clutch cable in, inner and outer. I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall or reattach the cables down here, starting with the brake cable. This cable adjuster is turned all the way in, which is how I like to start. That way, if it's loose, I can just back the cable adjuster out rather than messing with the clamp bolt in the back. So I'll get the brake cable through first. There you go. I don't know if you can see that, but this cable goes through the 2 metal parts here, and there's a hole in the middle of that bolt. like that. Back the nut out a little bit more. Okay. There you go. Okay, once I got that, I'm just going to tighten it. To pull a little tight, and then I'll tighten this. Feel for the brake. That's pretty good. I'm sure I'll have to adjust it later on, but that's a good starting point. And tighten that a little more. Fold the cable around. Okay, rear brake cable is connected. Really hard to see. Yeah, so the cable goes through this cable adjuster and then through this little clamp bolt here, and then it kind of wraps around. Again, I just got it tight enough to where, you know, I feel some tension when I step on the brake, and then if it's too loose, I will back this out to adjust it and make it tighter. So the clutch cable is here. It runs through this little clutch arm here, and then the cable adjuster is up here. See, I turned that in all the way. So I'm gonna put the cable clamp on the end, and then see how it feels. If it needs to be tightened a little more, I'll just back this cable adjuster out. So yeah, I'm gonna connect this real quick and show you guys. Okay, so now I'm gonna tighten the pinch bolt on the clutch cable. So I got my 4th hand tool here. I'm gonna tighten this down about right there, and then I will tighten that bolt. Alright, I've got the pinch bolt connected to the clutch cable, and I'll adjust it with this cable adjuster if it's either too tight or too loose. But up here, pull the clutch. I gotta say, these aftermarket clutches feel 100% better than the factory ones. This one I can literally pull with my finger. Wow, okay. Yeah, you gotta spend a couple $, but it's definitely worth it if you don't like the way your factory clutch feels when you pull it. Yeah, cool. All right. Before I move on to putting the headset top back on, I'm going to go ahead and swap this part out. All right, so you can see I swapped the new horn cast on. I just moved over the badges and this little grill and also the horn inside. So I actually got a new one of these covers. I'll snap that back in. We're pretty much done. All right, in the previous video I removed the drip tray just to clean up the oil mess that the oil tank left when I removed it. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put it back in and then I'm gonna put in all the cowl release mechanisms, and then I should be able to put the fuel tank and the oil tank back in. Tray back in place, and also the cowl latches back on as well. That was actually pretty difficult, I gotta say. But yeah, they're both back on. I'm gonna put a new fuel line in, so I already got it routed through the frame and almost to the carb. You can see there, just to see how much I actually need. I work on so many bikes, I actually bought an entire spool of this stuff. But if you're wondering what size it is, 5/16 inner diameter, and this is from AC Delco. So yeah, I'm gonna cut off what I think I need, and then we'll get the fuel tank and the oil tank back in place. All right, before I put the fuel tank back in, I'm gonna replace the fuel valve. It's better to do it now than later on, even if you think it's good. If it's been sitting for a while, just replace it. It's not worth dealing with the issues that come with it. Either them not flowing right or not closing or whatever. yeah, just go ahead and change it if your bike has been sitting for a long time. So the Stella fuel tank, you actually have to remove this, the fuel sender for the gauge to get to the valve. I just try to go in there with the tool and it doesn't reach. So yeah, it's much easier if you take the fuel sender out. All right, got all the screws out. I'm gonna pull the sender out. Looks something like this. Hopefully this is okay. Otherwise, we're gonna have to replace this too. So let me set this down here. Ugh. Fuel in there. I'm gonna try to dump it out into this 5-gallon jug. All right, good enough. Okay, if you never replaced a fuel valve before, this is what a fuel valve looks like. It's just a nut that goes on the top, and this valve goes from the bottom of the tank. So what I need to do is go in there and loosen this nut with this tool, and then you pull the valve out and we'll replace it. There we go. Yeah, Stella, you have to remove the fuel sender. And the P200s, you don't. Okay, I got the nut off the top. It should just come right out. But this one's probably been on here forever. So, yeah, there you go. That's that. I'll remove the lever. Spin it around. There we go. I don't know if this is good or not, but it's not flowing right, so we're gonna replace it. All right, found a new fuel valve, petcock, whatever the hell you want to call this thing. So I'll go ahead and put this one in. So same thing. Drop the nut down there around the vent tube, and then just bolt it back in just like the way you took it out. Looks about right. I'll put the lever back on. Clip back in. The clip goes through the valve and then through the little opening on the lever all the way across. Like that. That's how it should look when it's done. Okay, and then up position's on, and then all the way over to the right position is your reserve. So if you don't know how the fuel valve works on a vintage Vespa, that's how it is. So all the way left is closed, up is open, all the way right is reserve. I can't tell you how many times I've asked some people and they could not tell me, and they were avid vintage scooter riders. So yeah, I actually had to learn that on my own, surprisingly. Okay, now that I have a new fuel valve in, I can put a fuel line on. I actually pre-measured this earlier. So all you gotta do is push this onto the output of the fuel valve, petcock, whatever. And then put your hose clamp over it. Tighten it down pretty good. Okay, that's good. Oil line, I went ahead and already put that on, but oil line is very important that you clamp this at this spot right here, because if this comes off, then all the oil dumps down into the frame of your bike, you burn your motor up, obviously. So the way I clamp this down is I use these things called Audiker clamps, and one of these, put it over the line, and you kind of pinch this little ear right here, and that crimps it. So yeah, that's probably the best way, to be honest with you. So that's why I use it. Okay, now we can put it back in the bike. All right, before I put the fuel tank and the oil tank back in, make sure all these harnesses are out of the way, because it's still tight down there. And also I'm going to put a new sight glass rubber grommet in. There you go. All right, and I'm ready to put the fuel tank back in. So, all right, it's a little tricky. You got to worry about 4 things at one time. The oil line first. Run that through the grommet. Oil line grommet's here. Fuel line grommet's back here. So get the oil line through first. All right, that's good. And the fuel line is here. Get that through the grommet as well on the bottom. Okay. All right. Then you have to kind of, like I said, worry about 4 things at one time. Slack on the fuel and the oil line. You gotta worry about the fuel rod and the sight glass. All that stuff's gotta line up before the tank will drop in. So you kind of have to be patient on this one. The first thing I'm gonna do is get the fuel rod in place. I feel it right there. Right there. Okay, that's through. Keep working the fuel line, the oil line. And now the sight glass has to go through as well. And it's right there. So, ow! Ooh, that bit my finger. Well, pop the grommet out, so we'll just have to work it back in with the sight glass in the way. A little tricky, but not impossible. Pull the tank back up a little bit until you can get this back in place. Okay, like that. Tank is down. Oil line, fuel line is good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall the fuel sender. Goes in just like this. Same way you took it out. You do have to go around the fuel valve though. Yep, there you go. Okay. Got the fuel tank and oil tank back in. I got the rear of the tank bolted in. Sender hooked up. So that's good to go. Next up, I'm gonna put the spare tire back on, and then we'll close this side up, and this will be all done. A lot of people don't know this, but the whole reason I fell in love, or one of the major reasons I fell in love with vintage Italian scooters, is because of the spare tire. My buddy Eric came over with this Stella, and I noticed a spare tire here in this spot, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So you'll notice on pretty much all my bikes, my vintage bikes, they all have spare tires, even though they don't come with them. So yeah, it's one of those things. But yeah, I'll go ahead and put the spare tire on, the cowl back on, and this side will be done. usually a cover that goes here, but I guess this one's missing. I'll probably order one of those on my next order at Mercado. But for now, we don't really need it. All right. Cool. Put the side cowl back on. We'll see if the turn signal works. Hopefully it does. Well, actually, I gotta fix this bumper in the back first. Yeah, this bumper in the back's been pulled down. I'm not sure if it's actually supposed to be 10mm bolts holding it in place, but this one has it. We're gonna see what we can do to make that look a little better. Okay. All right, good enough. Nice little bumper in the back. Put the cowl back on now. Hook the top, or hook the back, then hook the top, and then the front. Nope. There you go. Okay, cowl's back on. This side's pretty much done. Let me turn the key on, see if the turn signal works. And it does. All right, cool. Wow, it's a pretty nice audible turn signal indicator. Very cool. All right, on to the other side. All right, on to the other side. I got the fuel line here. I'm going to run that through the carb box and connect it to the fuel inlet. Let's see. All right, here's a closer look. See, I've got the fuel line on the inlet, hose clamp on that side. Next up, I'll connect the oil line to the oil inlet, which is this right here. Okay, connect the oil line up. Let's see here. All right there, I'm gonna cut it. Put my auger clamp on this one, this side as well. And I will push it on like that. Pinch the clamp. All right, there you go. Oil line's connected. Okay, next up I'll put the shroud back on. Shroud has to go there like that. This part actually has to go around the lip on the case. Then we can tighten it down. There you go. Okay. Put the spark plug back on. Alright, that's good. I actually used an air filter on this carb box, but I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use the original rubber air bellow. This connects the carb box to the actual frame, and somehow it gets air like that. I don't know how, but it's through the port hole or the vent hole here, because I'm not sure how else it would get air, but it does, so I'm gonna use it. Okay, I just spent a good half an hour getting this stupid air bellow on. Oh my god. I realized that on a P-Series, this coil's not in the way, so I had to end up removing that to make it easier. But oh my god, that was tough. Okay, I got that on. I'm gonna go ahead and put some fuel in this thing and see if the plumbing is okay. I'll try to start it. Alright, I'm going to put premix back into it because the oil line is not primed. So put some premix in it. I say maybe a quarter of a gallon. And then go rip it around and wait till the oil line primes up with oil. And then fill it up with regular gas. Alright, it's very important. You don't want to just put regular gas in here and then oil in the oil tank and go ripping, because the oil line is not primed yet. So yeah, make sure you do that. I'm going to fill the oil tank with oil. And once all that's good, I'll start it up and take it out for a ride until it primes. And then I'll fill it again. I'll fill it up with regular gas when I'm done. Okay, I've got the tanks full of premix and oil. I'm going to put the filter back on. The bike should run differently with the filter on, so we'll need to adjust it since we've been running with the filter off. I know you guys said that there's a bracket that goes down here, but I don't have it, so I'm gonna have to make something because I can't find it online either. So yeah, we'll have to address that later. But I think it'll be okay. I mean, it's got 3 big bolts holding in place. I seriously doubt it's gonna be any issues. But yeah, we'll see. All right, let's see if she starts. Turn the fuel on. I'll go to the reserve because there's not a lot of fuel in there. Pull the carb out. Key on, and we'll see if it starts. Okay, I'd say she runs pretty good. So yeah, I'm gonna put the fan cover on, and then I'll check the timing. On a Stella, you can actually check timing with the fan cover on, so I'll show you how to do that. Alright, you see I got the fan cover back on, and like I mentioned, you can check time with the fan cover on a Stella. You see these 2 marks here, A and it. See this line right here on the flywheel? If it lines up with it, then that should be 18 degrees before top dead center, which is what Pinasco asks to set the timing at. So yeah, we'll fire it up and see what happens. So I got my battery powered strobe light here. Clip this onto the coil wire with the arrow pointing towards the spark plug. So we'll start it up and see what happens. I don't know if you saw that or not, but it's actually on the A mark. So I'm gonna take the flywheel back off and see where the stator is set and double check that. All right, so I've got the fan cover back off. And I believe the IT mark is supposed to be 18 degrees before top dead center, and the A mark is supposed to be 20 degrees before top dead center. But like I said, I'm not sure, just what I've read online. So what I'm going to do is make my own marks. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use the buzz wangle tool. This is a nice tool for finding timing, setting timing, and whatnot. So I'm not sure they still make these, but this is from somewhere in England, I think. Dave at Scooter Mercado got this for me. So yeah, so first thing I'm gonna do is screw the piston stop in. You're gonna need one of these as well. The kit actually comes with one, but I don't like that one. It's too complicated. So I got this SIP short one. So I'm gonna screw the piston stop in first, and I'm gonna do my best to try to explain how I do this. The scientific stuff is over my head, sort of, but you know, I just kind of watch a lot of videos and kind of figured out how they did it. So it's worked well for me. So we'll see what happens. All right, so screw the piston stop all the way in. Turn the flywheel clockwise all the way until it stops. Okay, that's how I like to start. And then we're going to screw this tool on to the flywheel like this. Oh wait, no, like this. It's actually made for different flywheels. So screw this on, okay, and tighten the center bolt and kind of lock this flat with the flywheel all the way counterclockwise. That's how I like to start. So do that first. You get the actual gauge and you put it on here. So it's a 360 degree gauge, but as soon as you put it on here, you want to zero it. Okay, like that. Okay. Once it's zeroed, you're going to rotate it clockwise until it stops. So that says 94.5. So once you get that number, you have to divide that in half. Let's see here. 94.6 divided by 2 equals 47.3. Okay, so once it's like this, you pull the piston stop out, and you're going to keep turning it clockwise until it reads 47.3. 47, oh wait, too much, 0.3. Okay, 47.3. Oh, there you go. It's close enough, really. So this is top dead center. The piston is at the highest point of the stroke. So if you look through the spark plug hole, you'll see the piston end right there, and it won't go any higher. So if I go further, I'll actually start coming back down. So 47.3, I'm going to mark the flywheel for top dead center. So I can, let's do 47.3. This is, I put a little bracket here with a piece of tape. Usually I do it down here because it's close by, but for me to show you, I made a little bracket and put a little piece of tape on it. So 47.3, and I'm going to put a mark 7.3. So 47.3. Come on, there you go. So I'm going to do this mark here, 47.3. It's close enough, but come on, there you go. All right, I'm putting a mark on the flywheel right here. Okay, I hope you're following me, but I'm trying my best here to explain. So this is actually top dead center, TDC. Okay, so I'm gonna line it up there, and then I'm gonna zero the gauge. Hit the zero on the gauge. Come on, there you go. Now, since I need to set this cylinder or the timing to 18 degrees before top dead center, I'm gonna back the flywheel to 18 degrees. Hopefully, way too far. Okay, well, my little tab thing is not big enough, so let me see if I can make it bigger. Okay, as you can see, I made my little surface here bigger, so I can actually mark 18 degrees before top dead center. So I'm gonna go back to TDC. I'm gonna make sure this gauge is 0 at TDC. Right there, okay? And I'm gonna go back 18 degrees and make a mark onto the tape. Hopefully I can make it with this thing. No, it's not enough. Maybe. Let me see. You know what? I'll add some more tape to it. Well, they can stay steady when I start this thing up. All right, so 18 degrees. Like I said, I usually do this right there. That's 18 degrees. Before top dead center. Okay. Usually I do this like over here where it's actually, I can just mark the case, but you know, for me to show you guys, that is how I have to do it. So 18 degrees before top dead center is right there. I still have my mark here on the flywheel. So when I start it up and I strobe it and these lines match up, then we're good. But if they don't, then I'm gonna have to take the flywheel off and adjust the stator until I can get these lines to match when I strobe it. So yeah, let me get this stuff off it, and then we'll see if we can strobe this thing real quick. All right, let me make my mark on the flywheel more apparent. There you go. Like I mentioned earlier, usually I do it over here, but it doesn't really matter where you do it. You just kind of need a reference point. TDC and then 18 degrees before TDC, so you can do it up here, wherever, it doesn't matter. So like I said, for me to show you guys, I made this little doohickey here to do so. So yeah, now I'm gonna start it up and I'm gonna strobe it, and then we'll hopefully these lines line up, and if not, we'll have to adjust the stator. On, choke out, fuel on, start this thing. Alright, so the A mark was accurate on the flywheel cover. I am probably 2 degrees off. I'm probably at 16 degrees before top dead center. So I'm going to take the flywheel off and I'm going to rotate the stator clockwise a little bit. And hopefully we can get these lines that I made to match up. Alright, get the flywheel off. Put my flywheel remover in. After I remove the nut, so let's pop this flywheel off and then adjust it a little bit. Okay. When you remove the flywheel, don't lose the woodruff key. This one is still in there. So okay, so what we're gonna do is loosen the stator and move it a little forward. I'm guessing the it mark should be it right here. So I'm gonna move it a little more. Okay. might need to modify the, okay. Well, I'm going to move it forward as much as I can, and then if I have to modify the stator plate to go forward more, I guess that's what I'll have to do. So, alright, I'll go all the way forward, tighten this back up, and then we'll strobe it and see what we get. Alright, let's start this thing up and see what we got. Strobe light attached. Okay, so you see it's still a little bit before 18 degrees, so I'm going to have to modify the stator a little bit, just where the mounting holes are, just a smidge, and then we'll move it clockwise a little bit, and it should be at 18 degrees. All right. You can see I had to machine this slot a little bigger, and also had to machine this area here so the washer will actually fit in there. Machining meaning dremeled. So yeah, we'll see how this works out. Hopefully I don't have to do any more. Okay, so again, the main reason I did that is so I can rotate this further clockwise to advance the timing. So yeah, now this is all back together. I'll put the flywheel back on. Okay, I've got the flywheel back on, my strobe light connected. Let's fire it up and see what happens. All right. Well, I think that's actually perfect. So yeah, next up I'll torque the flywheel back down, and we should be good to go. Well, alright guys, I know it's been a long video. Thank you if you stuck around the entire time. I try to be as detailed as possible, just so you guys can do this at home yourself. I would have killed for videos like this when I first started. So yeah, I hope I'm helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram or Facebook. On our SBC pages. So yeah, that's all the time I have for this thing tonight. Guys, if you've enjoyed these videos, again, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.